Hey folks, how you doing? Good to be with you. I'm talking about the opener and the closer. Actually, the opener and closer of life. Actually, it has to do with the breath, breathing. Though we know that when an infant is born, the first thing it tries to do, first thing it wants to do, is to take an in breath, to inhale. Okay, that's the opener. That first breath is the opener. It opens life for the infant. And then the exhale. The exhale is the closer. And when a person is about ready to actually die a physical death, he exhales. You just at that last breath. That's the closer. It makes sense, the opener and the closer. The beginning of life and the end of life. But the human breathes all through life. Okay? So, this opening and closing business having to do with the breath is very important relative to the mythology and religion because it's all through all the religions and it's all through, of course, the mythology, okay? Because the religions are derived from the mythology, you see? So it's all through all of it, the religion and the mythology, okay? So it's difficult, though, to pick out, okay, what's really going on in the mythology and in any religious scripture. What's really going on there? You know what I mean? How do you pick out the key elements such as breathing? Okay, and what they say. What do they use? Okay, to more or less to hide. Okay, or to mystify or whatever. The breathing element, which is so very important. You know, it's actually the key to understanding religion and the mythology. Okay, so we'll take an example. We're going to take several examples, but we'll start off with the Kemite god Ptah. Okay, and Ptah is called the opener. That's one of his names. He has many names, but one of them is the opener. The same as the Buddha. Okay, he's called the opener too. Okay, but now we'll take in the Kemite tradition, like I said, Ptah, and one of Ptah's characters is the blacksmith. What does that have to do with breathing? Well, let's see. Well, the blacksmith, okay, he shapes and forms metals for one thing. Well, okay, it's plenty of metals in the human body. Okay, copper, iron, etc. So, okay, so the blacksmith, Ptah, shapes and forms metals in the body. But how does he do it? Well, he does it by breathing force, the opening and the closing of the breathing force. Okay, but let's look at the blacksmith. He has his anvil, he has his big hammer in his hand, he has water on the side, and he's got the stove. He's got the furnace, the fire's going. Okay, and so he heats the metal up, he bangs on the metal, then he sticks it in the water. Now we got fire, he sticks it in the water, and then vapor rises up. You know, that's fire in water. Okay, well, this vapor then is like air. It rises up. Okay, so here we have the opening and the closing. Because when it rises up, it's the closing. It has to do with the closing of the air element. It rises up. When it rises up, it's spiritualization when it goes up. Okay? So anyway, we see now that Ptah is somewhat involved with the breathing process, the opening and the closing. Okay? So now, like I said, when Ptah, with his big hammer, raises the hammer up, okay, it is the closing. When he raises his hammer down, it's the opening. So the in breath, okay, is represented by, okay, down, going down, because the in breath goes down, okay, and the out breath is the raising up the hammer. It's the out breath. It's the breath rising up. Okay, it's the closer. It's like it closes the deal, like when a person dies. The out breath closes the deal, and that's what the hammer represents when it goes up. See, so this is what the blacksmith is telling us when he's doing his work. Okay, so then now we have to move on, and we'll get to we'll go over to the Kimite situation with Shu and An-Her. Shu and An-Her, or sometimes they say An-Her Shu. So we're talking about breathing, because Shu is the god of breathing force. And actually, Shu and An-Her are the same. They're two characters of the same individual. And we're talking about the in-breath and the out-breath. Shu here is the in-breath, and An-Her is the out-breath. And so we'll look at how the mythology tells us of this, okay? So when you see an individual, okay, in the mythology or religion, with the sun on his shoulder and he's stooping down, okay, this is the solar force, the sun, going down into the underworld. That's the opening, actually, okay? But then we see, on the other hand, where we see an individual with the sun on his shoulder and he's standing up. Okay, when he stands up, that's the closing. That's the exhale. Okay, so we have inhaling, going down, exhaling, coming up. Okay, and so it's called the closer. The inhale is the opener. The exhale is the closer. We're talking about breathing force. Okay, so we used an example with the sun. So we see that when the sun goes into the underworld, sometimes it's a little struggle for the sun, you know, because there's supposed to be monsters and demons down there, weakening the sun and all that, and he has to call on his helpers to help him get through and then up and out of the underworld. Well, when they raise him up on their shoulder, he's coming out of the underworld, okay? And going into the underworld, though, okay, is also equivalent to the autumn equinox. The autumn equinox would be the inhale, going down. As the sun goes down in the wintertime, we have fewer days and longer nights as the sun goes down in the autumn and winter of the year. Well, we're talking about breathing when the sun goes down in the autumn equinox. That's the inhale, okay? But now, when the sun, at the spring equinox, when the sun rises up, which it actually does, okay, that's the closer, and that's the resurrection, right? That is the exhale. So the exhale is associated with the resurrection, the spring equinox, okay, where the soul of God resurrects at the spring equinox. So that's the closing. Okay, he's the closer of the day, and we have a god called Timu, in the Kimite tradition, and Tim, he is the closer of the day. He wears a lotus on his head, and a lotus, in the evening, folds in its leaves, its blossoms, so forth and so on. He folds them in. It's the end of the day. And here we're talking about the out breath. Okay. And so here we have some examples about a breathing force. Okay. In the scriptures. Okay. So now we can come over to Moses. Okay. In the Hebrew tradition of the mythology. And so we see Moses, when Moses he's up there in the mountain talking to the Lord, and he comes down from the mountain, he's got a mask on. A veil, they call it. Well, that's the in-breath, coming down, the in-breath, okay? And when Moses goes back up the mountain, he takes the mask off. It's the closer. He exhales when he goes up the mountain. Okay? And in this sense, he's the opener and the closer. Okay? So now, when Moses goes up to the mountain, he gets the tablet of the law. Oh, yeah? Yeah. This tablet of the law is equivalent to the Mati. That is the law of Ma'at. 2 tablets, 2 halls of Ma'at. Ma'at, plural. 2 tablets. Okay? So when Moses goes up there to speak to the Lord and get the tablets of the law, it's 2 of them. Well, they say that, well, one of them represents the male, and one represents the female. Oh, okay, we'll say that's right. Okay, we can agree with that. Okay? But the female is associated with the down breath. The inhale is the female. The other tablet, there was 2 of them, the other tablet is the exhale, rises up. So the tablet then of the law, okay, is actually the law defining breath, how to breathe rhythmically and regularly. Okay, these are the laws of Ma'at, the 2 halls of Ma'at, the 2 breaths. Okay, the in and out breath, and then also on a tablet given to Moses by Atum Ra, or Ehu, the Hebrews might call him, but just Atum Ra. And so he comes down from the mountain, okay, with his mask on because he's coming down, and he has the tablets of the law. These tablets define breathing force, okay? And so these are some of the things that are difficult to pick out in religious scriptures, you know. I just brought out a few examples, you know what I mean? But there's many other ways in which it is like camouflaged in the scriptures. You know, hard to understand, hard to pick out sometime. That, you know, that they're actually talking about breathing, and the in and out breath, the opener and the closer. Okay, folks, I'll talk more about this, okay, in a few, but I'll be talking to you, and subscribe, and have a good one, have a good day and all that. Okay, bye-bye.